If you are an NRI who feels stuck in a bad job, you're not alone. There are a lot of people like you. And I wanted to discuss about what you could do to make that a better experience for yourself. Hi, I'm Nupur Dave. I'm an ex-Googler, author, and NRI consultant. Today, I wanted to talk about why NRIs stick through bad jobs. Why I feel this is important is because people underestimate how bad it can get for an immigrant in a foreign country to live through years and years of being in a job that they're stuck in. I feel this applies a lot to some NRIs because they are stuck on the H-1B visa with the hope of getting the green card. And for that, they go through years and years of jobs that might not be suited to their personality or their skills. It's only been the last about 100 years that the 9 to 5 job has come into existence. Before that, people were not really tied down to an institute where they come in at 7 9 in the morning and come leave at 5 in the evening. The advantage of the system is that you have a guaranteed salary, which is why a lot of Indians prefer to do jobs than to do business, because a business has risks. But there again, not everyone is suited for that lifestyle, and if you're one of them, we need to discuss about what you could do to bring yourself to the most optimal life that you can lead. I wanted to go through my blog post as why do NRIs stick through bad jobs? And here I'm describing my experience during my first job. Of course, I appreciate and I'm really grateful for getting that opportunity. But at that time, I really didn't understand what I was doing. I was just super young and I had to switch fields. I studied industrial engineering, which was a lot of statistics, math, a lot of analytics, and this job seemed to me more on the software development side, and I didn't know how to transition into that switch. Now, what I describe here is that I was living my NRI life hypnotically, and for a lot of people, that point that they're working towards is marriage. So they're going through the same routine again and again, and a lot of people underestimate how bad this can be for some Indians. There are a lot of NRIs who live in the suburbs of certain parts of the world, and there they may not have easy access to people from their own community. So it becomes harder and harder to make friends or even sustain them because many people leave the city. For example, I describe Atlanta as a pass-through station. Atlanta, at least from how I saw it from my eyes at that time, was that a lot of people moved out of Atlanta after getting their job and moved to, say, the Bay Area or New York. And some did stay back, but then making new friends started becoming a challenge because the incoming crowd is younger than you, and it's kind of harder to make friends from a student group when you are a working professional. It's obviously not impossible, but it's just a little harder. The second thing that I'm describing here is about how life looked like, because as you know, in the United States, the buildings are really huge, the sidewalks are huge, you can't really walk anywhere, you have to take your car. So lunch was about walking down to the cafe, or if you're bored of that, you walk a longer distance to get to a place where you can get a subway or something like that. And at that age, when I was just starting to work, I was cost conscious. And at that time, when I wasn't able to understand what I was doing, the time moved by very slowly in office. Now, the difference here between working in India versus US is that US is a much more professional environment. You will not really find people hanging around and chatting too much. It's more about let's get work done and go home. So passing time, or rather, so the focus was on getting the work done. And if you're not really engaged with your work, then that becomes a little harder. Then once you leave office at say 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. and you go home, most often or not, this is not Friends or Seinfeld where you will find friends hanging out in a cafe together. That doesn't happen. That rarely happens. And if it's happening to you, good for you. You're an exception. It used to happen when I was a student, but as you start working and you move to other places, especially if you're, say, in a suburban place like maybe Idaho, it really changes who you can hang out with and meet. And it friendship becomes just optimizing being with another human rather than optimizing on being with somebody you really want to hang out with. You end up making friends with people who are there because you just need somebody to hang out with. And here, I'm comparing my life there as a 24, when I was 24, to what it could have been in India. And when I see people in their 20s in India, how they're working, there's a huge difference. In India, you end up making friends. You go, even if you don't like your job, it's so much fun. And you tend to make a lot of friends and hang out with them. And of course, because it's India, you probably have family to go home to, or maybe roommates or friends. So it's much more community focused in India, and that's also one reason why I feel NRIs have a disadvantage here in terms of making friends or having fun at the workplace. What I want to discuss here, you could have said it's a choice, right? Why were you staying in the suburbs of Atlanta with that job? But here's the thing. One is that I don't think I had that understanding that I could have made a change. I was just so happy that I got a job which is paying me money and I got my H1 sponsored, that the thought didn't cross my mind that I could find something better. I needed the money to become more financially stable and pay off the small loan that I had taken at that time. And also, the visa restrictions are such that you can't really move at a certain phase of your H1 B visa where you're applying for the I-140. Moving it will reset your application for a green card. So it's easier to maintain status quo than to change into a better job. And that is what pushes a lot of NRIs to just show up every day through bad jobs, through rain, through headache days, through stomach pain days. What I've noticed is, I remember in this first company that I joined, there was a lady who joined the accounting department. She was an American, and she left in a week. She said that she didn't like her manager and she just quit. And I remember thinking that that's so cool, right? Like if you get yourself into a bad situation, when you're a citizen, you can just drop everything and walk away, but you can't do that when you're an NRI on a visa. And here I'm discussing about what I did to improve my situation, or rather get the job that I wanted. And here is where perseverance comes in, right? I just knew from the bottom of my heart and from the gut that I am meant for something different. And I didn't stop that feeling from bubbling back up again, where I wanted to do something more technical. I just kept at it. I even started a blog where I would write just for myself things on data analytics and statistics. And I continued to look for other opportunities. So when I switched my first job, which I still, when I look back, I felt I waited a little too long. In my mind at that time, I was waiting for that first India trip because I hadn't been home in more than 2 years. And I wanted to save up money for that trip. I wanted to pay off my loan. I wanted to buy a car. For a long time, for about 6 months, I was without a car. So a lot of things financially had to come together for me before I could think of switching jobs. And when I look back, I just feel like I really didn't have to wait for that, but I didn't have that appetite to digest that risk. I just felt like, why do I need to shake things when they're going fine for me? It's just my mind, right? I don't like the job. It's my mind. I should be able to handle it. But in retrospect, I felt it would have been better for my mental health to address the first thing is that I should be in love with what I'm doing every single day. So now when I look back, the way I did it was that I took steps. I got a better job, and then obviously that was also not very fulfilling, but it was a better company, uh, in just in terms of the number of people and the resources and the salary. Once I got into a better place, it gave me time to sit back and think about what I could do and what skills I could improve on. And then I didn't stop trying. So I would just continue to keep interviewing. I still remember at that time, I even thought maybe I should move back to India. And I tried applying for some data analytics roles in India, but I never got any responses. It wasn't meant to be. I just continued to move. And then, luckily, at that time, I saw an opening at Google in Atlanta and I applied there and I got through. So basically, my goal for this is to say that if you're an NRI who's living in a suburban place in a developed country and you have no family to come home to and you don't like your job, I just want to say that hang in there, work towards making some part of that situation better. And that could be not only just improving your skills, but also start applying for the jobs right away. You don't really have to wait for some imaginary level of skills to apply for the next job. Just start doing it, get that interview practice, and get that ball rolling, because it will also start giving you confidence. Keep your location options open. It definitely helps to be in a location where you're closer to, say, some friends, or a more densely populated location. So, for example, if you could call New Jersey a suburban part of America, but there are lots of desis there, and there are high chances that you'll make more friends. That also helps you go through days when you're not liking what you're doing on at work. So yeah, I hope this helps. It's my mission to help NRIs lead a better life. Thank you very much.